A concert could have hundreds, even thousands of people. With that comes a need for security to make sure that everyone behaves and nothing dangerous happens. Then you have the real power-mad hardasses who dampen your concert fun and leave a bad taste in your mouth. I'm here to talk about both sides of it. Starting with the obvious, I think the onstage murder of Dimebag Darrell caused a national increase in concert staff. Bands are more careful about people jumping on stage, even stage divers have to be kept between the lines. But with that, people have to use common sense and not stay on the stage for too long. It's generally not a good idea to walk around and pat the guitar player on the shoulder or try to take pictures with the band with your cell phone. The good thing is that if security is hired for that night, part of their job can be to push divers off if they stay too long. I hate to burst your bubble, but nobody wants to see you dancing around with Cannibal Corpse on stage. Of course, venues have different rules on stage diving and crowd surfing. Sometimes there will be signs on the door that say no crowd surfing, but other times you have to ask. I went to one show where as we waited in line at the door, the venue staff was telling everyone that if we crowd surf, we'd be thrown out. At another concert, they weren't quite as vocal. They only told crowd surfers not to do it again once they pulled them to the ground. Now, every place has different reasons for allowing and not allowing it, primarily for insurance and liability reasons, or if the band chooses not to let people stage dive, so the barriers are set up. The problem is that sometimes you have security that gets rough with the crowd surfers when pulling them down, especially at festivals. They'll sometimes jerk you around or grab you in the wrong places like your dick, or needlessly be pricks about it. This is where you jump into the territory of not knowing how to deal with people at metal shows. Sometimes it's their first time on the job, so they'll freak out if a mosh pit starts and think it's fighting. When that's the case, you just gotta tell them that this is what comes with a metal show, as long as good mosh etiquette is exercised. However, if a fight breaks out, the instigator needs to be thrown out. Period. Again, common sense would say not to act like an idiot in a mosh pit, but if someone accidentally bumps into you or knocks you over, just don't take it personally. And if someone's being really aggressive, you need to tell a security person. But Tony, sometimes they sit and do nothing even if I tell them. Then get away from the pit and complain to the manager the next day. But fights are part of metal shows and hardcore shows, blah 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 blah. Yeah, shut the hell up. Now, the thing that bugs me personally is when you're told to leave immediately after the show's over. If you go to a lot of concerts, you'll make friends with people because in metal especially, you'll often see the same people going to the shows. Sometimes they live hours away and this is the only chance you get to see them. So when the band finishes playing, a group of us will grab drinks and talk, or try to say hi to some of the band members. Understandably, we do have to leave at some point, but just 20 minutes of socializing and mulling over what shirt we want to buy would be nice. You know? What's even worse is when you're not allowed to leave and come back. If I'm seeing a big band that I know is going to sell a lot of merch, maybe I want to buy something early in the show so I don't have to worry about it selling out. I don't want to tote it around all night, so what's the crime in putting it in the car and coming back? What if the opening band sucks and I want a sandwich across the street? I went to say goodbye to some friends outside after a Watain show, then I tried going back in. It was cold outside and I planned to stick around to try to say hi to the band. But the guy at the door said, "No re-entry." Well damn, it's only after the show. It's not like I'm trying to sneak in. Something I can't forget to mention are the pat-downs and the metal detecting wands. If you have a studded jacket, the wand might go off, but that's really no big deal as long as you're not carrying knives in your pockets. To me, that's a good thing because plenty of news stories have come out of people being shot and stabbed at concerts. Since I'd rather know that nobody's going to get their head blown off, I don't mind the pat-downs. What I do mind is when they're too slack on drunk or violent people. I've been to quite a few shows where someone will try to start a fight, and when it's broken up, the instigators are given way too many chances before being actually thrown out. Some drunk asshole at a Gwar show I went to was staggering and recklessly ramming into people outside the pit for 2 whole sets. Everybody got tired of him very quickly and wondered when something would be done about it. It wasn't until he tried starting a pit before Gwar took the stage that he was finally thrown out, with much applause. Then of course there are the occasional instances of the wrong people being thrown out for the wrong reasons. For instance, if someone tried punching you and you throwing your arms to your face to defend yourself looks like fighting to them, they might throw you out. Naturally, when you're dealing with hundreds of people, there's not a lot of time for Q&As. But it wouldn't hurt to explain to them. I attended a Morbid Angel show at a place called The Underground, which can pack more than 1,000 people. Security pat everyone down at the door, and the venue had these steps near one of the bar areas. At one point during the show, I tried sitting on the steps, as the seating area near the entrance cost money to get into. A security guard asked me to stand up, very likely in case of a fire, or if a lot of people rush to the door, so that way I won't get trampled. That was understandable. But it was also the extent of the staff being reasonable that night. Behind the stage at the Underground were the bathrooms. Directly next to them was the dressing room for the bands. Horrible choice of dressing room location. So what's the solution? Have a security lady sit in a chair in that area to make sure none of the public go into the dressing room. A friend of mine would tell me that when he went to the bathroom that night, she followed him in there. Also behind the stage was a barricade to prevent the public from going into the band access area directly beside the stage. Someone I knew was guitar teching that night, and I saw him on the stage in that area. I struck up a conversation while staying on the correct side of the fence, and 20 seconds later, the bathroom lady walks up and asks my friend, "So do you want him here, or what do you want me to do with him?" We were both like, we know each other, lady. She had zero business walking up to us, since I wasn't in the restricted area. When the show was over, everyone was supposed to leave unless they were getting merch. I got in line to get a poster, but I also had the advantage of being the last. Steve Tucker came over to talk to the merch guy, and he turned to me and said, "Hey, if you buy a poster, I'll sign it for you." Awesome. Well, my friends and I got pictures with Steve. Meanwhile, 10 feet away, a security guard was staring at me and the guy I rode with, waiting for the conversation to end. Once Steve walked away, we started to leave, and we were told later on that night that, as we were leaving, the security guard was following us as we were exiting the door to make sure we left. What really sucked that night happened to another friend of mine. He left the building to go home, and as he was walking outside, he remembered that he forgot to pay his tab at the bar, and he left his credit card there. So he tried going back in to pay it, and the lady at the door wouldn't let him back in. "Oh, the bartenders have already gone home. There's nothing we can do about it till tomorrow morning." We tried explaining to her that he lived 3 hours away and that it would only take 2 minutes for the manager to settle the situation. Long story short, I think he had to cancel his credit card and get a new one sent to him. I seriously doubt he'll be seeing anyone else at that place. There's a difference between doing your job and being a professional hall monitor. So, is concert security a bad thing? No. I happen to think they're necessary to eliminate some needless nonsense that doesn't belong at metal shows. Nobody needs to go to a hospital because some fuck-ass alpha male in a mosh pit decides that he wants to violently assert his dominance. However, a line has to be drawn because while it's important to keep everyone safe, taking the job too seriously can leave a bad taste in your mouth. I'm gonna get my money's worth at metal shows. If that means that I can mosh and stage dive and try to stick around and meet some of the band members, then that's my agenda. As flawed as some venues are about it, I do also have to thank them for saving people's asses time and time again. Grind on.